Tonight on CTV,
CSU is offering a new course for anthropology graduates.
And a closer look at Day of the Dead.
And all families and dogs are welcome at this Halloween celebration. Welcome to CTV News. I'm Marlo Lundak.
And I'm Sunday Miller. Here's what's happening in the world of news.
An environmental panel was held earlier today, and we had Aaliyah Gorelick on the scene.
This Thursday, CSU hosted a panel at Avogadro's Number, talking about how we can measure environmental sustainability. Here's what panel members had to say about the event.
To focus more on sort of the broad plane of what is sustainability and what are the multifaceted aspects of it that we need to try to measure.
I'm on the panel because I work a lot looking at land use systems and greenhouse gas emissions from land use.
Here's an inside look at the event from earlier today.
We're going to need bright young people that have skills and education and understanding to tackle it. You know, it's not going to solve itself.
I'm here at Avogadro's Number for the panel hosted by the School of Global Environmental Sustainability. Here, panelists will be talking about the importance of community members getting involved in the discussion and staying informed about climate change, because in order for change to happen, it needs to start on the local level to have an impact. Even doing little things like riding the bus or taking your bike to school and work can have a significant impact on reducing your carbon emissions. It's also important that we stay casting votes for state and local level officials that promote environmentally friendly policies. These panel discussions are a part of a Managing the Planet series. They are free of charge and open to the public. For more information, visit sustainability.colostate.edu.
This is one of many events that Fort Collins hosts regarding sustainability. It's valuable to get involved in grassroots efforts with the community, as this is the first step in tackling climate change on a larger scale.
After a string of burglaries early Wednesday morning, police caught and arrested a suspect who reportedly caused the impacted businesses $250,000 in damages. The perpetrator reportedly drove a stolen vehicle into multiple businesses to steal money from the inside. Police finally tracked down the vehicle and caught the burglar, Evan Bizzanetti, as he tried to flee on foot.
Two faculty members at the CSU Department of Health and Exercise Science, Karen Hamilton and Ben Miller, are authors on a paper about the correlation between massage and muscle growth. Hamilton stated, for instance, if you injured one leg and couldn't massage it because of that injury, we now have evidence suggesting that massaging the other non-injured leg could lead to benefits in the injured leg. This treatment could have many practical and important applications in the world of muscle regeneration.
During last night's ASCSU meeting, the court decided associate senators will not be allowed to vote on the impeachment procedures. The impeachment committee announced that an individual has been removed from the committee due to violations of those impeachment procedures, and asked Senate for an alternate on the committee if any other issues do arise. The Senate then opened the floor to nominations for the impeachment committee, and two candidates were chosen, Ken Smith and Kat Crowdis. After their presentations, the Senate discussed and debated the candidates and ultimately chose Kat Crowdis for the position because of her neutrality. The Senate also passed a motion to not have an alternate position in the impeachment committee after all.
The CSU Department of Anthropology made a big announcement this week.
Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene. Beautiful.
The Anthropology Department is welcoming their very first PhD program focusing on place, space, and adaptation. The program has been in the works for years and is expected to help students be successful in a wide variety of careers beyond college.
It's unique because we are infusing the curriculum with geographic methods and topics. So the anthropologists we train will have a unique perspective on traditional anthropological topics. They'll be able to use perspectives and toolkits from geography.
The program is one of just 2 or 3 others in the country. The department is planning to accept only 4 or 5 master's students for this hands-on unique graduate program.
On record, we have to see by people.
The program is believed to position the department forward-facing to address 21st century problems.
We're the disciplines that allows students to understand the significance of diversity and to study human cultures and their distribution in space and time so that they can, work in our global environment.
For more information on this program, you can visit anthropology.colostate.edu.
Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead, was celebrated on Wednesday by CSU students.
Students filled the lecture room in Clark for the annual Day of the Dishes event hosted by Sigma Lambda Beta International Fraternity Incorporated. The event featured a presentation by Dr. Ernesto Sagas, a professor from the Ethnic Studies Department, and traditional food was served.
To disseminate the culture and educate people what Dia de los Muertos is. It's not the day after Halloween, it's not just a day where we cook food, but we actually honor people, and through the presentations we hope that people learn that it's not just a one-time thing, but it's an event that spreads through multiple days.
While students learned about the history and traditions of the holiday, they were also able to respond to the cultural appropriation of Halloween costumes.
It doesn't hurt my feelings or make me feel bad about where I come from or who I am, because I haven't really seen it.
Some students see it as an offensive act.
The problem that people just paint their faces oh, well, I'm dressed as a Dia de los Muertos person. Okay, that's not a character, that's something that we can't do, or we can't just make fun of or just be dressed up as if you have no significance behind it.
CSU's Hispanic Cultural Center, El Centro, is hosting events for those who celebrate Dia de los Muertos or want to learn more about the holiday. Visit elcentro.colostate.edu for more information.
That's all we have for news.
Stay tuned for weather, sports, and entertainment right after this.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash. That's what I'll ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Good evening, Rams. I'm your weather anchor, Michelangelo Bustamante. The temperature right now is 50 degrees, but I guarantee you if you've been outside, it feels much cooler than that. Originally today, the forecast was to be for the clouds to move out and the sun to come out, but that didn't happen. And as we all know, Colorado weather is never predictable. So currently right now it is 50 degrees, winds at 6 miles an hour, and the sunset was at 5:55 p.m. All right, so tomorrow across the state, things should clear up a little bit. So in Fort Collins, we're going to have the high at 61, 68 in Denver, 66 in the Springs, 70 in Pueblo, 57 up in Sterling, so it's going to be a little bit cooler up there, 65 in Lyman, 55 in Burlington, and 62 in Lamar. Now up in Craig, it's going to be 60 degrees. 53 in Vail, 59 Gunnison, 51 Telluride, 62 in Alamosa, and then on the western slope, 60 degrees in Grand Junction. All right, so taking a look at the next 5 days here in Fort Collins, tomorrow should be the last good weather day. So tomorrow on Friday, it's going to be 61 degrees and sunny, so enjoy that sun as much as you can, because the next couple of days you're not going to see it as much. On Saturday, it's going to be 68 degrees, so warmer, but it's going to be very windy. Those winds are going to make it a little bit warmer, so it'll be a little bit pleasant, but then by Sunday, it's going to be 50 degrees and cloudy, 53 on Monday and cloudy as well, and by Tuesday, temperatures are going to drop down to 43 degrees. We might even see our second snow of the season, so weather's not going to be that great that day. All right, so now the forecast for the big game against Wyoming up in Laramie, it's going to be 48 degrees up there. Winds are going to be 22 miles an hour. It's going to be typical Wyoming weather. It's going to be cloudy, windy, 5 p.m. kickoff, but it's going to be a big game for the Rams. All right, Tyler, so last week we weren't able to get things done against Air Force.
No.
The triple option ultimately was just way too much for us. We lost 45-28 in that fourth quarter collapse. What were some of the reasons why we lost last week?
I mean, it was a tough game for CSU. Air Force did exactly what we thought they would with the triple option. They came out, they ran the ball all over us. 74 attempts for 413 yards and 4 touchdowns. Pretty much says it all.
Yeah,
so it was tough for us to rebound from that. And then Nick Stevens had 3 turnovers that cost CSU an opportunity to put points on the board. And so we weren't able to keep up with them. And
yeah, and see, that's the thing is Wyoming actually last week, they played New Mexico, the team that we beat 2 weeks ago, and they forced a school record 7 turnovers last week against New Mexico. So we definitely need to control the ball. They beat New Mexico 42-3, a team that we struggled with until the fourth quarter. So turnovers are going to be huge. We're going to have to hold on to the ball as the Rams make that travel north up to Laramie. It's going to be cold, windy. We're going to need to run the ball pretty well.
Definitely. I think Dalen Dawkins is going to have a big game. He's had 4 400-yard rushing games in his last 5, so we're going to need to rely on him in the ground game on the road, and hopefully Nick Stevens can have just a steady game. We don't need anything special from him. We just need to control the ball and get things done up there.
Yeah,
it's a big game for us because there's only 3 games on the schedule. So
Yep. We play Wyoming next week on the road. Then we play Boise State here at home, and we finish off with San Jose. And those 3 games are going to determine whether or not the Rams are going to go to the Mountain West Championship. All right, Tyler, so what do you think the score is going to be?
I think CSU is going to be 42-35 Rams. I think we're going to get it done by a touchdown. It's going to be tough up there, but I think it's going to be another shootout.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shootout,
too. High-scoring game.
I'm thinking 45-40. All right, Rams, well, that's all I have for you tonight, but hopefully the Rams are able to get it done up in Laramie, bring the boot trophy back down here to Fort Collins. Tyler Patterson's going to take it away next with the weather. Good night.
You've got pre-diabetes, but with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back. I'm Tyler Patterson here for sports, not weather. So let's catch you up on all the latest in Colorado State athletics. The Colorado State football team fell to the Air Force Falcons on Saturday, 45-28. The loss for CSU snaps the Rams' 4-game winning streak and marks the team's first loss in the new on-campus stadium. CSU's defense struggled to stop Air Force triple option run offense, giving up a gruesome 413 yards and 4 touchdowns on 74 Falcon rushing attempts. Air Force dominated the time of possession in the contest with their punishing ground game, holding onto the ball for nearly 42 minutes out of a 60-minute contest. When CSU did get the ball on offense, they wasted no time putting points on the board, which gave the defense very little rest. Dalen Dawkins busted off a 76-yard touchdown run on the first offensive possession, and Michael Gallup followed Dawkins' lead with an insane 55-yard touchdown grab of his own from Nick Stevens early in the first half. Gallup, the nation's leading receiver, added to his spectacular season totals, finishing with 161 yards and 1 touchdown on 6 catches. Running back Dalen Dawkins also had a strong individual performance despite the loss, finishing with 143 yards and 1 touchdown on 13 rushes. Dawkins has now rushed for at least 100 yards in 4 of his last 5 games. Quarterback Nick Stevens didn't play a great game and finished 17 of 31 for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. The 3 interceptions by Stevens were the first he's committed in conference play this season and were costly for CSU in Saturday's game. Although the 2 touchdown passes by Stevens put him just 1 touchdown shy away from CSU's all-time passing leader Garrett Grayson's for the school's touchdown record. Colorado State's record moved to 6-3 overall and 4-1 in Mountain West play. The Rams will travel to Laramie, Wyoming this Saturday to take on the Cowboys in the traditional border war. Kickoff is set for 5 p.m. Women's volleyball notched another conference win against Air Force last week, sweeping the Falcons 3-0. This is the 12th consecutive win for CSU and their 9th conference sweep this season. The win against Air Force was also the 48th straight win against the Falcons, dating way back to the 1995 season. CSU's overall record improves to 22-2, and the Rams remain perfect in conference play at 12-0. CSU is currently hosting Utah State at Moby Arena. The current score is CSU 12 to Utah State 7, and that is in the first set. CSU will host the Boise State Broncos at Moby Arena this Saturday, and tip is set for 1 p.m. Women's soccer wrapped up their 2017 campaign against Wyoming last Friday, losing the last match of the season 3-2. CSU was led by Haley Havlicek, who scored goals in the 26th and 63rd minutes, tying the game up at 2-2 after her second goal. Although CSU allowed a Wyoming goal in the 64th minute, which ended up being the game winner for the Cowgirls. CSU's senior class of players, including Haley Havlicek, Paige Brandt, Gianna Marconi, Maddie Rodriguez, and Janelle Stone, were the first recruits for head coach Bill Hempen when the program first began in 2013. On the group of seniors and what they did for the program, Bill Hempen said, quote, "They took a risk, and Janelle Stone told the group that she was proud to be a part of it. I think she will be a prideful Ram forever. I think all of them are. There's a little bit more to playing soccer. There's some grass stains to go with their degrees. They leave here with a stronger feeling for the program and for their team and their school, and that's what you want." CSU has some promising young players moving forward, and with a season of experience under their belts, the 2018 season should yield better results for the Rams. Well, when one season ends, another usually begins, and women's basketball began their preseason last night at Moby Arena with an exhibition game against the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. 13 Colorado State players got playing time in this one, and each of them took advantage of the opportunity to showcase their skills. 11 different Rams scored at least 1 point, and 7 different Rams made at least 1 3-point basket. CSU graduated 2 of the program's best players last year in Ellen Nystrom and Ellen Gustafson, but head coach Ryan Williams seems to have already recruited young and talented replacements. Freshman Lena Savan-Holm and Lori Devos led the way for CSU with 14 and 12 points. Senior Hannah Taverdi also scored 10 points for the Rams and grabbed 10 rebounds. CSU only led by 4 points heading into the fourth quarter, but a 31-point flurry in the fourth gave them a comfortable 78-60 win. The season will officially tip off next Friday, November 10th, against the Idaho Vandals. Tip time for Moby Arena is set for 5:30 p.m. That's all the sports I have for tonight, and for all the latest, head to thecollegian.com or CTV's Channel 11 YouTube. And don't go anywhere, because up next is Ryan Crist with entertainment.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
What's up, Rams? My name's Ryan Crist, here on another fantastic Thursday, bringing you all the latest and greatest in entertainment news, so let's jump right in. Betsy DeVos, the head of the Department of Education, was saying seatbelts, everyone, because this past Halloween, she went as Miss Frizzle, which is totally a fitting costume. I mean, don't we all remember those great episodes when Miss Frizzle told the students that she was excited for huge school budget cuts? Now, when this photo was posted, a lot of people, including public officials, saw her costume and they weren't happy. Representative Mark Buchan said in a tweet, "Unlike Betsy DeVos, Miss Frizzle supported science in the classroom and actually had a background in education." Tim Ryan said the difference is Miss Frizzle saw the value in quality public education. At the end of the day, though, we have to admit that her Miss Frizzle costume was pretty good. And who knows, maybe she'll pick a more realistic costume and go as Dolores Umbridge next year. As we all know from Tuesday's newscast, Kiara Coles talked about Jay Beebe and Selena Gomez being spotted together. Well, on Wednesday morning, these two were spotted riding their bikes together in LA and were looking very affectionate towards each other. According to E! News, a source claims that nothing is official yet, and we shouldn't even call it getting back together. They are two completely different people who are in a completely different type of relationship. However, Selena's friends have been noted saying she is better without him. While this public reunion between the two pop stars was a long time coming, it all started when Selena was going through her surgery over the summer, and Justin was a constant support system for her during this time. While we have no confirmation on their relationship, all we can say is, I guess it wasn't too late to say, I'm sorry. With Halloween being on Tuesday, I decided to take a look at a different style of trick-or-treating. This past weekend, 2 fun Halloween events were going on at the Lee Martinez Park Farm. The first event was Bow Wow Vania, where dogs got to dress up and go trick-or-treating.
Like, wait, I would have taken that. Proving that you can't do that.
So yeah, they come in, you get a treat bag at the door, it's pre-stuffed with some goodies already. You buy your ticket in advance. We sell them here at the farm and a couple of the recreation facilities. And you get your bag at the gate and trick-or-treat at about 13 storefronts. There's some displays if you want to do some cool photo ops, and out you go. It's just fun. They get dog bones instead of candy, of course.
And these dogs had some great costumes.
Do it later. All right.
Then, later that night, kids got to go to their second event, Treatsylvania, where they could trick-or-treat for candy.
Boo to you! And boo to you! Happy Halloween! Thank you, thank you! Trick or treat! Trick or treat! Don't break my door!
While this event was for kids, parents ended up loving it too.
So I think it's really cute. Just all of the houses that they have, especially with all these little kids, it gives them kind of the feeling of, I don't know, almost a little bit of practice, you know?
It's safe too, which is kind of nice because a lot of you never know when you're walking through random neighborhoods if you've been there before or whatever. And a lot of times it seems like people don't necessarily participate anymore, so it's nice to find people that really participate and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
But family friendly.
Huh?
Yeah. I guess that's what Halloween and trick-or-treating is all about. But
okay.
Yeah.
Trick-or-treat!
You say Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Treatsylvania and Bow Wow Vania will be back next year in case you missed it. Whether you're ready or not, everyone's favorite TV drama is coming back for a new spin-off. That's right. Jersey Shore, that show from like 5 years ago, got a brand new spin-off known as Floribama Shore. And looking at the trailer, this show looks rather interesting. This drama will take place where the sands of Florida meets Alabama. This show, of course, will feature 8 housemates getting into all kinds of drunken shenanigans. This show will air on November 27th, just in time for us to wish we were all at the beach. And who knows how this show will do. They don't have Snooki saying, "I'm not trashy unless I drink too much." In April, U2 made a guest appearance on Kendrick Lamar's song XXX, and yesterday it was announced that Kendrick returned the favor by lending this rock band a spoken word outro on their new song, Get Out Your Own Way. As of now, we have a piece of it from Spotify, which if you want to listen to, type in Get Out Your Own Way on Spotify. This is not the full song, as we can hear by it cutting out at the end, and the full song as well as the album will be released on Friday, December 1st. Now, I am joined here by Alec Erickson. Thanks so much for being on the show, Alec.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about this. You know a lot about music. So what do you think of this song? Of course, you've heard it, so.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting song. So it's U2's latest attempt. It's coming off their 14th studio album. So they've been making music for a long time. They've kind of gotten to this comfortable arena rock vibe. And so that's what they're going for with this. And you can see it with how it starts out with this chill kind of bass vibe, and it builds up and it builds up, and finally we have this massive chorus for the entire time. And so then it gets to this intricate, but it was very scripted guitar solo. And I thought it was very interesting. It was a great way to do the outro, and then Kendrick Lamar comes in on the spoken word. And it doesn't quite fit, I would have to say, because it's very gospel-esque. He's talking a lot about God and religion, and yet it doesn't fit with what everything else U2 is talking about during that song. And so it's kind of this weird mix-up. Obviously, like you were saying, it cuts out, so we don't actually have the full song yet, so who knows how the rest of it goes. But it's kind of this weird experience right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I was listening to it, I was actually expecting Kendrick Lamar to rap or do something like that because, you know, that's what he's known for. But just kind of at the end, it sounded very weird. It sounds like he just was like thrown in there after the fact. It almost seemed like it wasn't planned to me, you know. It seems like he was just in there to kind of be in there since they were in his song, of course.
Yeah, and kind of like what you're saying is like U2 played a very massive role in XXX. Like U2 was the chorus for that song, and so they had a very large, prominent role within that song, and the rest of Kendrick's album was mostly comprised of features, and so Kendrick knows how to collaborate with other artists, and he knows what he's doing, and so it seemed kind of weird, and it almost seemed forced in a way where U2 kind of returns the favor, and they're like, hey, we want you on a song, but we're going to throw you at the very end, no music, you're just going to talk kind of thing. Like, you're not going to rap, you're not going to do whatever it is that you do best, you're going to kind of come in and be like, hey, here's my latest thoughts on kind of religion. And it's almost like a very Bible verse kind of thing, taken straight out of the Bible, but it's kind of weird how it was kind of played out.
It was really weird, and I also heard, after doing some research on this song, a lot of people are expecting that maybe he'll be in for another verse, and that this might be a longer song than the one we've seen on Spotify. What do you think they're going to do with that?
So I don't know if I agree with everyone that thinks it's going to be much more of a longer song. It's already just short of 5 minutes long. It's already a pretty heavy song, and it does what it needs to do. It has a build up, it has a release, it peaks and valleys at a couple of moments. And so it does a lot, and so I don't think it can go much longer than maybe a few more verses. Who knows? Maybe, I'm guessing if the full song gets released, it's 6 minutes, maybe 6.5, but they can't go much further with what they have, especially if it's spoken word, because the music's done at the point when Kendrick comes in. There's no music behind him whatsoever. It fades, and then Kendrick starts coming in and just talking, and so it's kind of this weird spoken outro, and it's supposed to be one of the earlier songs in the record, and so it's kind of this weird pacing thing, and I'm more worried about how the structure of the rest of the record's going to go at that point, if that's what they're going to have in the middle of the record.
I agree. I feel like the people who are saying that he might come back in, that would just be weird to have all the music cut out, come back in, and give him either a rapping part or another spoken word verse, which would just sound weird. The song did sound pretty complete with his part in there.
Yeah, it's mostly complete, and the thing is with U2, they don't like to experiment with their sound. They are not very experimental now with their age. Like, their experimental age was way back in the 90s during some of their like 5th and 6th studio albums. They got really space rocky there for a while, and they've just found their soul in arena rock. Like, they are still selling out arenas, and that's kind of the style that they're going for. And so collaborating with a rapper is something that seems out of the park for them, and I can tell that this seems like something they weren't willing to risk too much.
Yeah, they definitely felt forced. What do you think they could have done to make it better? Like, how could have they used Kendrick Lamar and actually made him have like an impact in this song?
Honestly, I think Kendrick could have been utilized better if he came in earlier. If he had a part earlier in the song, either if it was on a pre-chorus or a verse, like something earlier than a spoken word outro to a song, even if it was the spoken word intro to a song, I think it could have had a bigger impact, because a lot of fans that are listening for Kendrick, they're not going to probably stick out that whole 5 minutes. But for some people, it's kind of this weird thing to hear Kendrick not rap. And so that's what he does. He's a rapper. And so we want to hear him kind of get out there, spit a few lines, but that's not what happened in this case.
I agree. I was tempted almost to fast forward to like, because I was wondering like, okay, when is he going to come in? Like, but I listened to the whole thing. But anyways, thank you again so much for being on the show, Alec. I really appreciate getting your perspective on this.
Thank you, Ryan.
Well, Rams, that is all the time we have for you tonight. Remember to stay tuned for Monday Night Sports Show, and have a great weekend, Rams.